When someone first embark in magic, you can be bombarded with a lot of misinformation. Where do I start? Where do we go? And there's a lot of things that's been said for thousands and thousands of years. Most of it is complete bunk. You could just throw it away. There's so many writings and so many people vying for your attention and trying to get you to do this or that, and to, this is the way magic works, and this is not the way magic works. And then on top of this, you got people asking, what kind of a witch are you? Are you a green witch, a black witch, a white witch? What are you? Are you a druid? Are you a sorcerer? Are you a hoodoo practitioner? Some of them think that the word witch is bad, and then maybe you're just a light worker. Some of them think that the word witch is bad, and they prefer not to be called by them. So there's a lot of stuff out here. And the heart of any person, whether they're hoodoo, voodoo, or witch, is to do magic. That's why here at the Haven, we just discard all of the titles. You call yourself what you want to. What we're concerned about is results. How do I change my life for the better? How do I work this out? How do I get what I want? No one comes to magic expecting not to have any of it. We don't want to be normal. And if magic is normal, then we might as well just do something else. We come here because of the call, the drive, something in us that knows that there's more than what that many religious figures have told us. And we're itching. We have an itch for the more. So no one comes to the craft with the desire to do nothing. We want power. We want to transform our lives. And so you have two extreme thoughts in the craft, and then you have all these other minor thoughts in between the two. On the one side, you have the reconstructionists, those that are trying to rebuild ancient and archaic beliefs. And on the other side, you have the neos. And then both sides is telling you what magic can't do for the most part. It can't make you rich. It can't control someone's will. It can't do this. It can and can and can't. And I disagree with them completely. I believe that magic can do anything if we have the right teaching for it. But many of the books, many of the tomes, many of the teachers will not instruct in this way. They will tell you, no, there's certain things that magic won't do. And as a result, we have this watered down things. And I think that we leak more people than we get because, I think that a lot of people leave the craft because of what we can't do, what they teach us that we can't do. For a religious body to be so free, there's a lot of rules. And when you compare many convents with the Assembly of God Church or the Church of God in Christ, it seems like they can do more magic than the convent. It seemed like, when they get their oil and they're praying the prayer of faith and they're reading out of their spell book and they're doing incantations their way, they won't call it magic, but it appears that they're doing more than what many convents are. And this has to be undone. I mean, we're in magic to do magic. We're here because we want to do magic. We don't want to be normies. We don't want to be no mages. We're not here to just pretend. No, we're wanting power. And we're going to, that's one of the things I'm going to do on this channel is that we're going to really get to the nuts and bolts of it and pull back the curtains. And if you need a teacher, if you want to be a student of mine, please contact us with the emails. Email me and we'll get in touch with you. We're working on a new website right now so that you can access that. But the heart of the matter is we're looking for results. We're not just looking for a bunch of people that want to dress up like a witch, walk down the street with a broom and a drum, beat on the drum, we are children of the goddess, or we're witch and we're proud. And that stuff is wonderful if you want to do that. But that's not what I came to the craft for. And many of you out there, you're not interested in that aspect of the craft. You want power. You're hungry for it. And that's what we offer. Now, when we study and we get into the idea of power, when we get into this idea of power, we have to settle the doubts. We have to get rid of all the doubts. We have to crucify, nail to the tree every single doubt that we have about magic. And the way we do that is that we got to do two things. We got to first of all find out why magic. We have to answer that question. And the second thing, is magic wrong? Both of those are necessary to really deal with. Okay? Everybody has a ghost story. Even the most arched Christians, the most steadfast Muslims, everybody has seen a ghost or know someone who has. Everybody wants the touch of that occult. Everybody wants the presence of the divine. But they only want it so far because of the teachings, the misguided teachings of people. So we have to really deal with both of those issues. Now, but first, why magic? Well, the reason I believe in magic is because nothing else makes sense. You have two approaches when it comes down to defining how the multiverse works. One is the religious one, that there's a guy up there sitting on a throne and he's looking down at the world as if it's his entertainment. And he created everything, and then he threw these books at us, and books that are hard to understand and quite confusing, and threw these magistrates, these ministers, these clericals at us and says, well, you better listen to them or you're going to go to hell. Okay? Or, excuse me, or the scientific approach. When you follow either path, you're going to run into one problem. What started everything? That's the problem you're going to run into. If you go the religious way, the question is, what made God? Well, if this is the argument of many evangelicals, that if I walk along the beach and I find a Rolex watch there, and I pick up the watch, I will assume that there was a creator named Rolex that made the watch, because it's a finely tuned piece of equipment. It just didn't get on the beach by itself. Somebody had to make it. Somebody had to leave it there. And because of the intricate design of the watch, I have to believe that there is a creator of this watch. And that really makes sense. Until we ask the question that God is a lot more better than a watch. He's finely tuned, or she's finely tuned, and she is filled with intelligence. If we look at it the same way we will look at the watch, then we have to assume that there is a creator of God. because something that's highly tuned, something that has that type of intelligence, have to have a creator based upon that logic. Well, so now we messed up again. Who made God? So is God the only allowed atheist in the world? Because does God not believe in a God? Who made him? And if God is the only known atheist in the world, then how does he have a right to judge other atheists? Especially if we're to imitate him, like Paul said do in his epistles. So we run into this problem that, where did God come from? Okay? Well, science runs into a similar problem. Where did the universe come from? Some try to say that the universe is eternal. It never had a beginning and it never had an ending. But when we look around at the things in the universe, this doesn't make sense. Because trees are long-lived, but they had a beginning and an ending. And trees are part of the universe. Humans are part of the universe. Most humans die. And I say most humans die because nobody has proved that Saint Germain is really dead or not, or Nicholas Flamel. So most humans die. Okay? And the prophet Elijah caught a whirlwind to heaven. And Jesus is said to resurrect. He still is alive. Though he died, he still is alive according to many beliefs. So, but we still have this issue then. If most humans die, then entropy could be a major collapse of all universes. If the universe could ever end, then it must have had a beginning. So what started it? So we were in this situation where no one can answer the question. What made God? And what made the universe? So what I have concluded is that it has to be magical. And when you look at the nature of all things, if you really be fair, you'll come to a conclusion that it is a magical universe. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It is true that you can take a scientific apparatus and you can work the apparatus to measure certain things and get certain outcomes. For instance, we can put a man in a space shuttle and send him to the moon and judge it with the precision of a second. And we can say science did this for us. The automobile, technology, advances, AI, we can say science is there. It does great things for us. Medical technologies that save many lives every single day. We can attribute that to science, no doubt about it. But yet there are some things that science cannot do for us. For instance, spontaneous remission. How does that work? Or the placebo effect. How does that work? Even if the placebo effect is very small, it is still an effect. What about the self-fulfilling prophecy that the psychologist talks about? So see, both of them have strengths they can claim, and both have problems. I'm not against either one. I think technology is magic, and I think religion is magic. They just have gatekeepers to tell us how far we can go with both groups. And many times they don't want to merge, and those that do merge commits the greatest sin of all, the sin of apostasy. They call us traitors and Judases, or they talk about us as if we're uncouth and we don't have intelligence, that we have fictional type thinking, or we serving the devil, or we're worshiping the devil. I mean, there's a lot of craziness involved in that. But the truth of the matter is, the only explanation for this universe existing is an illogical one. The double slit experiment, the way gravity works, the fabric of space. Who made the fabric? Where did it come from? The relativity, Einstein's relativity, theories that time is different depending on where you are, your location, your motion, and all of this. The block universe, that all time is happening simultaneously. There's so many things there that is just mind-boggling that both groups hadn't sat down and said, you know what, we just really don't know, and it's okay to have magical thinking here. Who is it going to bother to say there's a great genie somewhere, rub the lamp and make some wishes? There's some things that are happening that's beyond explanation. Now, with me, I've settled this in my spirit. And in order for you to be a great practitioner of magic, you have to settle that in your spirit, that there's an illogical reason for the universe. It is not logical. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. For a long time ago, people to die at 30 years old. They thought 30 was old age. Now 30 is the new 18 and 50 is the new 30. It's amazing how that shifts. I was reading this scientific file, and there was a person that was sentenced to death a long time ago. And they had him blindfolded and they put him in the bed, and they had these pails of water around him. And they gave him a scratch. They said they were going to bleed him to death, and he heard that. He believed it. They gave him a scratch, and he could hear the buckets of water dripping. Now, he didn't know the buckets of water was there, but he heard them dripping. He assumed that was his blood. The guy died. He died. He died thinking he was bleeding out. How can you die with just thoughts? How is that possible? Is it logical? Is it logical? Thoughts have power, and it's proven time and time again. Thoughts have power. So the first thing we have to do in order to embrace magic fully is to accept the fact that the universe doesn't make sense. It makes magic. It doesn't make sense at all. It makes magic. It works magically. I mean, just think about it. Nobody ever touches nothing. Repulsion, the science of repulsion. But yet we can feel the very things we're not touching. Now, scientists say, well, what you're feeling is friction. It doesn't matter. I have a different perception of the friction that I feel. To me, it may feel soft. To someone else, it may feel hard. And it really feels hard to that person, and it really feels soft to me. So we have to get to a place where we accept that the universe is not logical in many regards. Now, there are logical processes within the universe, but the universe at large, the universe itself, is not logical. Now, I'm sure there will be people at Caltech and MIT that will disagree. I don't give a damn what they think about it. Okay? I'm sure there's going to be some religious teachers that disagree, don't give a damn about them either. I'm talking to you, the practitioner. This is your life. You got to decide if you're going to be a sheep in the herd or you're going to follow your own course. Do you want to be a magician or whatever you call yourself, a witch, a sorcerer, whatever you're calling yourself? Do you want to be that? Do you want to see magic in your life or not? And in order to do that, we have to establish that magic is the way the universe is what it is. See, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. If something was dead, it does not come alive. The only way the universe could live is for it to have always been alive, and that is not logical, it is magical. So magical thinking is the way we should be thinking as occultists, as witches, as sorcerers, as those light workers, whatever you're calling yourself. That's how we have to think in order for magic to be strong in our lives. We have to think in lines of this. And if we do, then that's the first thing, the first problem is solved. Now, I'm not going to be able to get to the second situation here, the second question that I asked, but this one right here, settle it, that I believe that the universe is magical. I believe that. And then situate yourself around magical thinkers. Watch magical movies. Don't watch things. Look for confirming bias. People say, well, you shouldn't do that. You won't know the truth. I would rather live with a lie than die with the truth. You say what you want to say. You could be all, on your high horse about it and everything, but I would rather you lie to me and let me live. There was this doctor telling the story about this guy that had real bad cancer. And he read this story about this certain particular medicine. And he wanted to take that medicine, and the doctors wouldn't give it to him. But then they thought about it and said, okay, we're going to give you some of this right here. And it really wasn't a medicine. They just wanted to shut him up. They gave him a dose of it. They thought he was going to be dead within 48 hours. They came after the weekend. The guy is still alive, doing well. The tumor shrink. Then he read in a study that the medicine that he so believed in really didn't work. The tumors returned. The doctor got wise and went to him and lied to him and said, look here, guy, that was bad medicine. I got the good stuff, the pristine stuff. Gave it to him again. The tumors went away. Then he read in a medical journal that medicine absolutely don't work under no circumstances. The man died 3 months later. Okay? Died 3 months. I would rather live. Just lie to me. Tell me I'm living long, living good, I'm healthy. Do that. In fact, in the scriptures, it says, let the weak say I'm strong. Let the weak. So basically, the prophet is telling you in a way to lie. If you're weak, say you're strong. Okay? Well, why did he say that? Because you're really not lying. You're creating what you're wanting to be. It just kind of seems that way. So you could be this person that says, no, I need to know the truth no matter what it is. Look here, that's not me. Let me stay with my fanciful thinking. Let me stay in my wonderful witchy world. Let me continue to think like I think. And you think like you think. I'm not messing with you. Don't you mess with me. But those of you that want to work magic, you got to settle this thing. That yes, your magic can do anything. Is there anything too hard for God? No. All right, we're going to leave it there for now, but I'm going to pick up with a part 2 of this, and we'll go a little further with it. And there's some other things I want to talk to you about on this channel. Again, if you're needing a teacher, contact me and we can work something out. If you're needing a coach, do the same thing. We can work something out. And you can become a student for a gift of $25 a month. And we'll work something out, and I can help you with your magic and your craft and feed you these words and be a source of inspiration there for you. And if you have a great teacher, then celebrate them, bless them, stay with your teacher, do what needs to be done to build your craft. Until next time, this is Abayah wishing blessings on all of those that will do well and desire such blessings. Until next time, blessed be.